presentation over here. So factors impacting regional and municipal development. So technically speaking, this is more urban planning level as of now, but like we're still being introduced to QGIS, and these are sort of the more simpler methods or like what they call this applications of QGIS. We'll be looking at how to analyze the physical, economic, and social factors as discussed in the previous videos. This is my own sort of way of segregating the different factors in like the built environment in both urban design and urban planning. Different books, different sources will have different categories, but this is just my own, like simplify it to three. Deducing causes and effects. So we'll find out specifically in your like province, region, municipality, and city, what are the causes and effects of these different phenomena, some problems and maybe some solutions. And then finally, evaluating our like proposed solutions. So we'll start out with Faye over here. So municipality of Kalibo, this is the seat work 5. And then just like based on her description, we can already see that the physical factors are highlighted. Economic factors are like the most highlighted, and then she also touches on social factors. So what are these different factors here? So the map itself gives us the idea of how big the area of the land is. And although we don't really see a zoning map, we can clearly see on this image here what are the uses of the land. So you can see about, let's say, these areas here to the south, more agricultural because you don't see the outlines of buildings. And then here is really kind of a bit to the northwest is really where the city center is, like probably like also where the land is more flat, so easier development. And then one really interesting thing here is that population growth is like increasing or is happening, but Kalibo, as expected, is just a municipality, so its population is significantly smaller when you compare it to like the regional numbers. So in this case, what do you call this? Directly comparing a municipality or a city to the region might not be like super beneficial to identify trends, especially if you're going to focus on either urban planning or urban design. So for our classes, urban design, we'll focus slowly more and more on the municipal and like a sort of barangay scale. But still, very interesting here to look at the numbers. In 1990, Kalibo was 51,000, had a population of 51,000 people. It increased to another 10,000 ish by 2000, and then another sort of a bit like 10,000 again, 74,000, and another 10,000 or like 6,000 this time in 2015, and then 9,000 in 2020. So you can see it's fluctuating but fairly stable, almost like just like I'm just rounding up here, maybe like 10,000 increase per year, not per year, per decade in 1990 and 2000, and then maybe like another what's 12? This is 12, 12, yeah, 12,000 people in 2010 and between 2000 and 2010. So that's probably the highest increase, 12,000 people, and then goes down in 2015 with 6,000 people ish, and then increases again in 2020 with an additional 9,000 people. So this like let's see, 10-year trend shows the peak at 2010 with like 2020 surprisingly getting closer to like the 2010 like percentage numbers. So another information that would be useful in this table would be the percentages of growth, like how much change was happening. So we can like estimate where Kalibo is going. But based on this like decade 10-year data, it seems like it's still going up. So pretty much in line with our hypotheses or the theory that like urbanization will happen all over the world. It's just a matter of time. Now, because there's an increase in population in Kalibo, you can also expect more activities, more sort of businesses sprouting in Kalibo. And then that is like observed by Faye over here when she says main activities are happening in Kalibo are people travel within the city for day-to-day activities, such as going to school and work. Some are going to business establishments to shop for their needs and wants, etc., etc. So Kalibo population trend is growing since 3 decades ago, and to maintain it, the government should continue its progress like what they did prior to COVID, wherein they were aggressive with the infrastructure developments that attracted some investors to open businesses on the area. So you can see physical factors are highlighted in this map, economic factors much more, and then a bit of like behaviors and governance are a bit like explained here as well. So that's a very good presentation, like submission. And then this is the seat work three, focusing on population growth and issues. I forgot to put in here, so I'm just like gonna fill this in. I kind of ran out of time. And issues slash problems. So generally, when an area, a city or municipality has increased population, there's also increasing problems. So flooding, narrow sidewalks, road traffic, etc., etc. The flooding happens because the city is like overdeveloped, or like it's like exceeding sort of like sustainable levels of sort of like a, I wouldn't say sustainable, exceeding the boundary or the natural boundary of the city, and now it's susceptible to flooding because it's covered or surrounded by rivers on like a river on one side, and in I think an ocean or sea on the what do you call this, eastern side. So let me open up Kalibo real quick because I don't know the names of our seas. Kalibo, Aklan, Philippines. It's surrounded by bodies of water, so it makes sense that it's also prone to flooding. So it has the, what is the sea? The Visayan Sea, I would think. Yeah, it seems like it's the Visayan Sea and the Aklan River to the east and to the west, respectively. So, what are some possible solutions over here? The drainage system master plan, road right of way acquisition, systematic routing scheme, and loading and defining loading and unloading bays. So, defined loading and unloading bays. So, I have a quick question for Faye. Are you here, Faye?
Hi, sir.
Yes. So, can you tell me more about the road right of way acquisition? Are you familiar with that process, or is this just something that you heard of that could be done?
Yeah, actually, I'm part of the right-of-way
Ah,
acquisition,
okay. So, could you tell us more of the process niya?
but haven't ano pa sir done the actual implementation. Kami sa designing phase,
Mm-hmm.
design stage nila. So, what specifically sa answer, right? Road
Ah,
right.
okay. So, my question would be, how do you start? Like, what are the first steps here?
Yeah, actually, right now, sir, really, I think before the road right of way, dapat na naman, actually, there should be a basic design already if you're going for our case or no that will be implementing the Cebu Bus Rapid Transit. Actually, the basic design comes first before the road right of way. So we really have to determine the boundaries of
Mm-hmm.
the development that we have to implement on the roads, and then after that we have to prepare the parcellary plans. So
Mm-hmm.
dira mo ma-determine the number of lots and the structures and the boundaries that will be impacted or kanang affected by the project. And then we also have to prepare the resettlement action plan since in our case kay bound me sa with World Bank na mga policies. However, even diri nga even sa dili siya funded by foreign like World Bank, ADB,
Mm-hmm.
and JICA, I think, and the AFT. I think mo prepare po ang DPWH with resettlement action plans, and they have to follow it during the implementation. And then afterwards, yeah, we need to check na or do the field surveys to check the proof of ownership of the properties, and of course we need to do social surveys also
Mm-hmm.
because medyo ano kanang work dira to avoid the grievance na mga grievances along during the implementation, sir. So dapat before pero I think it can also be done during the sending of notice of takings. just to request those documents from the owners, if para to check if they really are the owner of those properties. So a lot of due diligence were being conducted before actually negotiating with those project affected persons that of the project. And
Mm-hmm.
then afterwards, if sure na with the ownership, and then we already have we still have to conduct also the appraisal activities, because they're only accredited what do you call this, accredited GFIs and property appraisers in the country. So the values that we will be using is that of the accredited na mga appraisers, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then afterwards, we can then proceed with the letter offer and negotiating with the affected persons. So,
Okay, okay. So there were like a few terms there, and I'm not, and it's new to me because like I am not part of like a big, I haven't been part of a big development project. What does GFI mean?
wait, so, sir. Actually, nakalimot ko bitaw sa iyang word.
Okay,
More
okay.
ang gamit
Because,
lang ko namo is the IPA, which is the Independent Property Appraiser.
mhm.
Actually, the GFIs usually is the Land Bank and DBP.
Independent property appraiser. So this is like getting the price of the land.
Yeah, the market values.
Okay. So market value of the land. So like because you want to buy that land.
Yeah, and I think murag in legal view or legal aspect diri sa Philippines, kay murag ilahar jud nga report or praised values ang pwedeng gamiton.
Hmm. Yeah, para dili ba para fair sa landowners.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay. And then the letter offer is like the official document saying I will buy your land for this
Oo.
much.
Yes, oo. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. So I think we all learned about that because I haven't heard about this term. So that was very interesting to me. So basically, you have your like engineers create the preliminary design to locate the new road or whatever new kana. Is it a road or is it like a bus kanang or just what kind of like infrastructure is this?
Sa other projects, sir, especially sa DP, is roads and bridges, and then sa amuan na part is will be constructing man good stations and terminals and depots. So mas dako actually siya ang impact, and also the roads, because we'll be using that two middle lanes, so we have to also to provide another two or three lanes for the mixed
Mm.
traffic.
So it's adding stations, bus stations, Nisha.
Yes, bus stations.
And then increasing another two lanes. So that's going to be a very, very big project.
Yes.
Okay. So good luck with that.
Good
Okay.
luck.
So thank you
Yes.
for letting us know. Na grabe day si Municipality of Kalibo. No, are you doing something like that? I haven't heard of anything
No,
like
no,
that.
no. Sorry, you were asking with the the Iser here right away sa Kalibo. I was
Yeah.
actually discussing about here sa
Oh,
Cebu.
Cebu na. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, 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 okay. Oh yeah, I forgot you work in Cebu, but you're from Kalibo, Cebu.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, there is
Okay.
oh, sorry. Actually,
Good, good.
ang akong gina-refer na road right of way dire sa Kalibo is just for the roads,
Mm-hmm.
since we only have 2 to 4 lanes. I think not enough siya, and it's better actually if ang sidewalk is at least 2 meters
Mm-hmm.
for me. So that's why I recommended na dapat na ay road right of way, since we don't even have the unloading and unloading bays. So sometimes ang the tricycle drivers and some private owned na mga drivers, kay they just stop anywhere on the road that causes also traffic, kay ang mabili na lang is murag 2 lanes from 4 lanes, kay gihimo na nga parking ang another anong outermost lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Good. Good. So the reason why I asked about the road right of way acquisition is you already see the steps are pretty much the same as we discussed in the previous video. identify the location of where your project will be, and then like identifying how much that land is worth, and then creating your basically your the identification of the route and the site also fits with the step of like identifying your vision. And then to implement that vision or like that project, you need to like talk to the landowners, send them a letter offer, get the land, and then implement. So the four steps are also like a bit seen here as well, like identification of the land and stakeholders, creating your vision, and then implementing that vision. And I forget the last step is also to monitor and evaluate. Always naginang monitor and evaluate. I think that's also standard everywhere in the Philippines. Evaluate. Okay. And then I think that's already pretty good for participation for this particular project. So I'll like grade you over here. Seat work 3. Let's go to grades. Does anyone in the class have questions about like other developments in Kalibo and Cebu that Faye might be sort of aware of? Okay, Rato. So basically 4 lanes in Cebu, like additional for like the bus route, additional 2 lanes with the existing 2 lanes. So total 4 lanes and proposal of like 2 meter sidewalks.
At least three, sir,
At
if
least
possible.
at
If
least
possible. Pero
three.
naaman good other areas diri na murag di madaang three, so mga 2 meters
Yeah. So
sidewalk.
I think that will be one very challenging, especially some more like populated areas. If moagi siya sa kanang city center and then you have to like move everything back. Yeah, I think that will be challenging, but I think it's really something that Cebu City needs to do. Okay. So before I'll just write it down here on a piece of paper for your participation. Okay. Okay, so mag-open Google na po na tab and we have to wait for it to load. Okay. Next we have the Region 7 municipality of Ubai. This is by Anesla. Sorry, Anasela. Sorry. I'm a bit dyslexic. Anyway, so what are the physical factors here? We're looking at Region 7, the municipality of Ubai. Anasela, where is Ubai exactly?
Good evening, sir. It's located at the northeastern part of the province of Bohol, sir.
Northeastern of Bohol. Kasi somewhere here.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Somewhere
Sige, sige.
there.
Okay. Oh, it's already here. Klaro kayo ko ni Basa. Note you cook time today. Its activities are mostly farming, fishing, raising livestock, and other agriculture-related services. Since Mayota has the highest population aside from the city, there are a lot of people around Metro Ubai. Other people from surrounding towns flock for its business centers and needs. Population growth has been steadily increasing at like from 60,000 to 80,000 people. And then on the regional scale, that's from 6 million to 8 million people. So that's all over Region 7. That's like a 2 million increase from 2000 to 2020. And then over here, a good thing about these line graphs is the higher the slope, the higher the population increase. And you can see the municipality of Ubai has been experiencing, I think the highest, just looking at it, it seems like the 2015 to 2020 population growth has been the most significant it had since the 2000s in this graph. So again, that theory that urbanization will happen all over the world, it also applies to the municipality of Ubai. So it says here, population growth has, while Region 7 population have grown to almost 70%, both have slow population development this year on 2010 to 2015. Oh, it's lower actually. The slope kind of looks the same, but it's like probably just a little bit less. Okay, municipality population, da, 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 da. And then since Ubai is faster growing, in order to maintain it, officials structurally implement comprehensive land use plan of the town, etc., etc. So we see the physical factors, the actual location of the municipality. We see the population trends and the analysis of like what activities are happening in Ubai, like the buying, what was it? The fishing, raising livestock, and other agriculture related needs. And then we see the social factors where in order to maintain this growth, the government needs to strictly implement the CLUP of the town. And then this is Anacela's like seat work 3. We see the land area has of Ubai a total of 335 square kilometers, elevation of 14.0 meters, and then the water sources, power sources, and then the issues, housing backlog in Metro Ubai, sprawling of informal settlers around coastal barangays, and lack of public open spaces in Metro Ubai. No, excuse me. We can see the population over here and more clearly the population growth by percentage. So 2010 to 2015, let's see here. In 2000, it was 3.5% increase, and then it slowed down to 1.34, 1.46, 1.38, and then a bit higher again in 2020 at 2.07. So very interesting that um, I think all over the Philippines we'll see the similar trend. Like the 2000s was really a period of growth, and I think it kind of slowed down after that. So let's quickly compare this with Kalibo over here. So we don't have the percentages, but let's see, 51 to 62. So that's another one. I like 11,000-ish. And then 2000 to 2010, that's 212. So 11,000 and 12,000. And then over here in Ubai, we have, let's see, 3.5%, and then slows down to like 1.34%. So it'd be interesting to see what the 2000, no, not 2000, 1995 numbers would be like, so just so like we have like a frame of reference. But basically, yes, increasing population, which is good, but it comes with a lot of problems. So what are some mitigation measures mentioned here by Anacela? So Ubay is a first-class municipality on its way to become a city, has to have well-developed land use plan. Some ways would be to like mitigate or help Ubay grow. Let's see, first, due to the flocking of people in Metro Ubay, where its booming business district is located, there is a shortage or overcrowding of shelters. To solve this, either way, government and private sectors are encouraged to build more low-rise apartments in residential zones going out of Metro Bay. Only establishments that has business permits are allowed to accept boarders or tenants in a condition to follow the maximum capacity of each housing unit. For the sprawling or informal settlers making makeshift houses along coastal areas, government should strictly prohibit them from constructing and provide tenement or socialized housing. So this is like a really a clear architecture sort of solution. And then for those who are not architects, this has probably been um, even you guys are not in our field of architecture are already aware that there is really a lack of housing all over the Philippines. And the reason for this is just people just come into cities because the businesses are better, there's more opportunities, and they're basically leaving behind their like rural communities to have like better lives in cities. And then that draw is so strong that the cities can't sort of accommodate this influx. So housing is good. The real question is how do we get the funding? And then I think that's even a bigger question that not one person can answer. We just have to hope that what they call this, we get government leaders or like even get the private companies involved to help fund these like projects. Design. So my question to Anacela is like, do you have what's your experience with the housing backlog today? Is it getting better or is it getting worse or it hasn't moved at all in your experience?
I think it's getting better, sir. Kay
Mm,
before man good kay kanang there are a lot of houses around the mercado like poblacion na
mm,
for rent, and usually there are different families renting that one house.
mm.
Then karon sa na-observe na ko, I'm working for the local government of Ubay. Di ay.
Okay.
So kanang na-observe na ko right now daghan na kaayo og apartments for rent around Metro Ubay. So I think it's getting better na ang situation regarding sa housing backlog.
Increase rental properties.
Yes, sir.
Rental properties. Okay. Is this in the city center?
Yes, sir, sa Metro Ubai.
Okay, good. Let's see here. Let's see. I think that's pretty much there. How are the informal settlers being handled?
That's the huge problem right now, sir. Kay during the Typhoon Odette bitaw, kay
Igo kayo mo.
the kato jud ang coastal areas ang naigo pag-ayo the barangay Poblacion, Fatima,
Mm,
and Tapon. Then most of the people there are informal settlers.
mm,
Kanang moto kanang we are kanang looking for a lot to transfer them. But the problem is kanang lisod jud kaayo ka storya, sir.
Ano man,
Sila.
di sa ganahan
Kay
mo move.
oh, they don't like kay layo ra daw bisan walking distance ra gud unta madara og kanang
Mm,
lakaw kanang they don't want to move there even though it's kuan na gyud socialized. We are planning on building socialized housing man, but right now na change ang mind sa among mayor
mm,
kanang iyan ang ipa-tenement housing ang transference sa mga informal settlers. Unya
mm,
kay strong naman gid kayo yung implement na dili na patukuran og balik, so kanang they talk with the kaning power source company diri sa
mm,
Bohol sa among town na dili na jud pakunikon og suga og tubig tong mga
mm.
informal settlers. So
Yeah.
mao to ang ilang gihimo para dili na gid sila mo build balik.
Yes, very good. And then, sorry na nalingaw ko kay architect mamugod. For those who are not architects here, they might not know the difference between tenement housing and social housing.
Yes, socialized housing. Socialized housing is linear and usually it looks like row house.
Okay, row
Then
houses.
tenement housing, yeah. Tenement housing is more on vertical, pa taas siya. Then
Mm,
mura siya apartment space, ay apartment building.
mm. How far are you? How tall are you planning, or how tall is the mayor planning the buildings will be?
4 stories ra, sir.
Okay,
Ang
four
kaya sa
stories.
budget.
Because budget concerns that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's also kanang sorry mo sidetrack lang ko kadyot. Um as I think I talked about this in the presentation, it's also good that's only 4 stories because if you go too high, then it becomes number one, too expensive to maintain. And number two, there's also a lot of social and psychological factors that impact the residents. So this is a project, this is more kanang closer to urban design now because we're talking about housing. This is called the Pruitt-Igoe housing project in the US, famously known for being a failure. So notice these are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 11 stories tall. And there's several of them. I think about 20 buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 24, 25 buildings. They have their own like school, they have their own like open space, and then they have a church even over here. But the problem was it was too big and too difficult to maintain. So eventually they demolished it. It was constructed in the 1960s and then demolished in the 1970s. So it's really not a bad thing that the housing projects that we're going to propose are like low to low to yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even advise going mid-rise. Low-rise is really the way. This is also happening in several developed countries like other states in America, um, what they call this, Europe and Sydney, and also probably like I think Japan and Singapore are more focused on high-rise, specifically because they don't have the land area anymore. So yeah, that's a very interesting discussion. Thank you for that, Anastella. Let's go
Thank you, sir.
the rest. Okay. So this one is Karen's Caraga Region 8. No, not 8, 13. My brain. XIII 13, yes. Focusing on Butuan City in Agusan del Norte. Okay, so let's see. What are the physical factors here? Let's see. We have the scale bar, which will give you an idea of how big this area is. About, let's say, I'm using the scale bar, about 25 kilometers wide and about 75 kilometers tall, Agusan del Norte. Let's see, the population bar graph of the city shows steady gradual growth. Its pattern is very similar to the population growth of the whole Caraga region. So currently, 343, all of the areas are increasing in population. And then I don't think we have an example where the region is increasing and the municipality is decreasing. One thing I want to highlight with this is if you ever come across a project or you join a group where you notice that it's either the regional or the municipal numbers don't align, then it's very clear that it's either, for example, in the Caraga population, if everything is increasing, but Butuan City is decreasing, then it's very obvious that people are living Butuan City. And then in this situation now, as we've seen in the past two examples, the region is increasing and the municipality or city is also increasing, then very likely people are moving towards Butuan City. And this kind of sort of trend usually doesn't go away very easily. So you can expect if it's been growing for the past 10 years, very likely it will continue to grow for the next 10 years unless a major calamity happens. Okay, so Butuan City is a regional center of Caraga region and is identified as a first-class, highly urbanized city. The city's major income is through agriculture produce, with industries including wood processing and rice milling. Blah blah blah. Geographical location also makes trading hub. But due to its rural image, lack of institutional facilities such as schools, the younger generation tend to move out of the city, mostly to Davao or Cagayan de Oro, to look for better schools and eventually stay there to work after they graduate. So this could be, this is a very interesting problem or issue to solve because everything else seems to be doing well. It's just this image. So this falls more under like social factors, cultural and behavioral sort of trends. And then the solution here would be to create private partnerships, also make Butuan City an educational hub for the whole region and promoting to the younger generations the city's main income granting industry to make them stay even after they graduate. So it's more of an image problem, very interesting social problems. Over here, more data on Butuan. We have land area of 816 square kilometers, water sources, power sources, and again, the increasing population. One of the highlighted issues here is the high risk of flooding in most areas of the city due to the city's low elevation. Some solutions highlighted by Karen are the strict implementation of monitoring of the required easements near the river, flood control infrastructure such as concrete flood walls along the river, and further improvements on the urban drainage system. So my question to Karen over here is, what do you think caused this like image that Butuan is not, as you say, what do you call this? How did Butuan get this rural image, or has it been there since the beginning? Butuan's rural.
Uh, yeah. So people mostly have this misconception bitaw sir that murag wala nag-improve ang city if it doesn't go urban looking.
Mm,
Like yeah, so for a couple of years since I was a kid, so mostly we have kanang so far as of now duha pa ang among malls. So murag ingana bitaw na
mm,
people, especially the younger generation. So even me, so I even went to Davao for college kay kanang walay arki school diri sa Davao, ay sa Butuan I mean.
mm,
So murag then I wanna murag I have the misconception na I wanna work in a bigger city because kanang boring kayong Butuan.
uh,
So without me, so karon I'm kabalo naman ko na, so I think that Butuan is in a good path kay because it wants to more like sustain its kanang kanang rich mo gud siya in agriculture kuan. So it wants to the LGU wants to make a smart city. So
Mm,
na gusto niya i-retain ang iyang pagka-agriculture and kanang as is lang ang iyang pagka-urban. So quote unquote urban. So murag I think it's a good way man pod. Then more on educating lang the younger generation na kanang dili bad thing ang rural looking na ano
mm,
city. And it's also kanang dili man gud siya like dili siya makatukod og kanang mga high story bitaw na building sir because of its geographical location nga humok ang among lands
mm,
kanang mga up to 3 stories lang usually ang among buildings dere. And it's not a bad thing too. So more on social factors lang gyud siya na kuan na people na mga misconception na kanang wala naga-improve ang city just because it doesn't look rural and it doesn't look
look
urbanized.
urban, yeah.
Walay high story buildings ana, but it's a good thing man pod.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one thing I can say to support you is like rural areas are really the food production places or the sources of food for any like country. So maybe we could just what they call this have like campaigns, or maybe you could organize with like what they call this local organizations, like private organizations, to like improve the image of Butuan, something like that. So yeah, that would be a very interesting sort of like a social intervention to help people sort of like appreciate their city more. And then, are you working in the government or the where is your kanang current
Department of Human Settlements sir and Urban
Department of
Development.
Human Settlements? Okay,
Yes sir.
so I think a good way would to like raise awareness, really just like um, maybe like social media, something like that. It looks pretty good. I think one of the advantages, like let's see the population numbers real quick. Population numbers is at 372,000 people as of 2020. Comparing that with others over here in Caraga, oh no, sorry, this one is 81,000 in Bohol. So there's really like a lot of people here. The area is 816 square kilometers. Bohol is like 355. It's just really like bigger and like wider, so you don't feel the denseness. And then for urban design, I think we can, um, yeah, just really an image problem. We can have like some more deeper discussion on this, like in the coming meetings. But yeah, um, one way we could use QGIS for this, like document where all these buildings are, and maybe we could identify like a prime location to sort of start the facelift of Butuan.
Yeah, yeah.
More interesting. Um, just off the top of my head, I think we need to find the space or the location where people like flock to or like go to. Where do you think, in your experience, is the kanang most popular spot in Butuan City?
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons sir na wala kaayo murag tourist spot ang Butuan. So
Mm,
murag center lang siya para murag main way murag center lang siya para moadto bitaw to Surigao to travel to
like
yeah,
transition.
Surigao del Sur, yeah. So within the city itself wala joy kanang even open spaces. So I think it's also one of the reasons nga nganong murag kuan siya kanang regional center lang yun siya, mostly buildings, kanang kung naa kay transactions ang ginatuyo sa tao. Pero kung ingon tourism, wala jud siya murag kuan lang siya kanang center lang para makaadtog Siargao, makaadtog Surigao del Sur for their beaches ana.
You might need like a landmark,
Yeah, yeah. So
like
we
a
have
landmark
parks though,
feature.
pero boring man po ang parks.
And I think farms are could be an opportunity. Like if you could make the farms like some kind of like a tourist destination. Even the
Yeah.
Google truck didn't go to the city hall. Interesting about city hall. Like we can like display that further. So for those who are not how many are architects actually here? Could you raise your hands at Google like this? We have three architects there. I thought that like we had less. So this could be a very interesting like thesis proposal or like a thesis study. Um, and then you can go into urban design principles if you're an urban design major, or urban planning principles if you're in a planning major. Uh, what could be a possible building type that will be a landmark for Butuan to increase like not just more tourism, but or like local pride in their cities or something like that. It's very interesting to me because like the social aspect of development is very much ignored. We're more focused on the economic and the physical, where like when I talk to my undergrads, that we really need to focus on the people. So thank you for that, Karen. We'll move on to the next one over here. Let's see in a full screen. The municipality of San Remigio. Let me check our time. How are we doing on time? Still 1:19. Okay, still like an hour. So physical factors, what we're looking at, it's Western Visayas, or yeah, definitely Western Visayas. This is more on the municipality of San Remigio map, and this is by Crystal Gale. Where is the one? Let's see. San Remigio sa regional map.
Southern part po, sir.
Southern part near
Yeah.
Negros
Near,
Occidental.
no. Near Iloilo po. Ay,
Near
yung Panay. Katabi
okay,
po
somewhere here.
ng Iloilo yung Antique. And then
Okay.
southern part of Antique po yung San Romeo.
Okay, here.
Uh,
Okay, Southern part.
medyo
Okay.
center, actually center po pala kami.
Okay, somewhere
Yeah.
here. Okay. Sige, sige. So let me just quickly read through this for everyone and for myself. Both population growth, Region 6 and the municipality of San Romeo continue to increase as recorded, blah, blah, blah. And 1.14 growth rate, Region 6. And for the last decade, annual regular revenue of the municipality has increased considerably from minus 3.03% from 2012 to 10.89%. So that's almost like a 13% increase in 2016, which indicates the development of municipality in terms of property and business tax. This is the result of the conversion and construction of national roads that connects the municipality to the province of Iloilo. This boosted the tourism industry more on the municipality as it was considered as the summer capital of the province, which opened job opportunities to the locals as different businesses and establishments rises. So this year also more so very good. This is where very clearly it's a bit more on urban planning again. New roads, new developments tend to open up new opportunities for cities and municipalities, basically improving access, having people move more easily between like two established cities usually results in a net benefit for both cities. So this is where government and like public-private partnerships tend to like get involved in. So very quickly, let's look at the size of San Remigio. It's 400 square kilometers with a population of 34,000 as of 2020, a bit on the smaller side because it is really like on a more sort of what do you call this, less populated area of the Philippines. And then I think this like table here is very useful for me personally, this Wikipedia thing, because it also lists the growth rate. So it goes back all the way to 1918. So 2.29% as of like 1918, then goes up to 2, 1.4, 1.2. So like hovering at 1 and 2, like since the 1910s. And then let's just look at the past 20 years. In 2000, it was 2.86% growth rate from 22 to 26,000 people. And then 1.8 in 2007, 2.56 in 2010, and a severe decrease in 2015. I wonder what happened here na decrease gidang population like stagnated sa 2015 and then increase again to 1.36 in 2020. So maybe it's explained over here. Most of the barangays are located in flat areas prone to flooding. And the best way to prevent is installing river embankment and also for the LGU to regulate the construction of residential structures near the riverside. One main issue in the municipality is also the lack of an established water source, even just for the flat areas. This is due to the constant destroyed pipeline, as they are usually exposed on the sidewalks and even on the roadside. So recommendation for the LGU in addressing this issue is to first have like proper and secured water pipeline. So this is really a big problem that, or one of the most important problems for cities, water source. So I'm going to take a quick look at San Remigio over here, and then ask the question to. Okay. Crystal Gale. Do I call you Crystal or do I call you Gale?
Crystal po.
Crystal, yes. So how long has this been a water problem? How long has it been around?
Ever since, sir. Actually, even until now po, wala po talagang line, ang water line po talaga here in San Romeo. Usually po, meron lang kaming deep well if you want na okay yung yung water line mo is magpapalagay ka na lang ng motor and yeah,
The pump?
yeah, yung pump na lang po.
Mhm. Okay. So I think it's also because the
Oh,
population is so small. Yeah.
yeah. Also, one of the reason din po kasi medyo mataas po yung lugar namin sa sea level.
Higher sa sea level, so a bit
Yes.
above sea level. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Is this the main kanang
Yes,
urban
sir.
area? Okay, I
Yeah,
just saw
yeah.
the city hall. So let's take a look over here. The Google Maps are really like a godsend for like urban design and urban planning majors because we can like take a look like at the actual conditions of the site. Yeah, so it seems like it's
Super
just the main
rural po
road.
talaga.
Yeah, and then there are the exposed pipelines over here.
Yeah, there were some times po na mayroong mga kalabaw, minsan naapakan ng kalabaw. Yeah, that's some cases po na nangyayari. That's why hindi ko
Mhm.
talaga ma-establish masyado.
So usually in these kinds of like new towns or like new cities, I think raising awareness again would play a key issue because like if people know, like if they've known for a while, then I guess you don't need to raise awareness. It's just about getting the public officials and some private company leaders who would have the money to like help fix this like problem. So there should be water for all. Um, I guess my first move would be um, to ask the government if there are like any like significant like private companies who might be willing. Are you also working in the local government, Crystal?
No, sir. Right now I'm teaching po in a university.
Okay, teachers. So same teachers pala tayo. Okay. So I think we could ask our like chairman or deans to like reach out and then maybe we could create a study, something like that, just to like see kanang what are potential um, sort of partners to help solve this problem. Because I know the government wants to solve this problem. Maybe the issue is they don't have the funds. So in that case, let's talk to people who have the funds and maybe they can like put their name on the project. So there's like some prestige, there's some um,
So
benefits.
first, sir, mga kahoy na lang po yung makikita nyo within that area of San
Mm.
Romeo.
Yeah, in this part,
Medyo
yeah, it's all
nasa,
trees na.
yeah,
It's really like here lang yun near the
yeah.
municipal gym and the municipal hall.
Pero one of the development we have recently po is in the barangay Anilan. So parang yun yung reason why San Romeo became parang summer capital of the Philippines. Ganito yung weather niya
Mm.
Baguio, even na meron na silang mga strawberry farm and so parang hindi yung development tapos na yung national road kasi it's province and then provincial road 5 years ago na since naka-merge to so yun.
Hello, hello. Sorry na medyo choppy siya.
Sorry.
Testing.
Yan
Hello.
po.
Okay.
Hello.
Ah, saan po yung National Road?
At, at, you can
Nawala na connection.
Hello?
Hello, yes, there you're back. Mm.
Yan. Yung Iloilo San Remeo Road po.
Iloilo San Remigio. So Iloilo somewhere here. And then I guess I'll just Google it. Uh, Iloilo San. There, okay. So this is the road that connects San Remigio over here, and it goes all the way to Iloilo. Okay. And
Yan,
Iloilo,
sa Gertsan Falls po. Actually, meron pa po siyang around 4 kilometers na hindi pa talaga nagagawa. Pero, that's na, in Iloilo part na siya. Bale, tapos na yung road na nasa amin, yung sa boundary mismo. So, we're just waiting for Iloilo to finish their road na lang.
Iloilo, there we go. Iloilo City. Iloilo City is over there. And then San Remigio somewhere here. I'll just put the directions here. Direction. Like that. Yeah, that's really fun. And then why is it like by walking?
Yung yan po is, yan yung sa ngayon, yung ginagamit na road.
Yung existing. Then the
Yung
new one is
yes,
somewhere
yung
here.
existing. Yeah, yung parang doon po sa San Remeo, parang papunta dyan sa Alimudian. Alimudian.
Okay.
Oo.
Like so something like this.
Yeah.
Connect siya dito, tapos connect dito. Yeah, it really goes up in the mountain. So that I'm assuming that's where all the budget is going, because this looks like a very big project. It's about, just measuring with Google Maps, about 30 kilometers of road.
Yeah, pero yung remaining na lang na kailangan gawin is I think around 4 kilometers kasi marami na rin yung dumadaan doon, sir, na yung mga using big bikes, ganun. Pwede na siyang ma-access, pero pag 4 wheels, hindi pa talaga.
Okay.
Yan.
Sige. So thank you for that, Crystal. That's like more and more we're learning, or I'm learning as well.
Thank you,
Let me
sir.
reduce this a bit. So that's the existing thing. National Road connecting San Remigio to Iloilo City. 4 kilometers of road left to complete the connection. So I'm sure that they're also doing some kind of like mapping to like even begin to locate where the road goes. So on maybe we could like find that. Maybe that could be like a specific activity for like our finals. So I'm thinking we could do something that's related to your interests for everyone. So for example, maybe Crystal could draw that road for us in QGIS. So that will not only like raise sort of I think everyone in San Remigio and Iloilo know about that road, but maybe that could raise awareness like on a national and maybe like provincial level, like they're doing this, so like we could also apply this in our situation, like specifically for Cebu City as well, because I'm from Cebu and like this is where most of my data is. We have a few roads that connect the eastern island, where Cebu City is, to the western parts of the island, like where Balamban, Toledo City. You can see in yellow the connections of these roads. And then maybe we could take a note from you guys, like maybe what would be a good way to like further expand this. Like if you go up here to the northern part of like Cebu province, there's no more east-west roads. And you have to go all the way up here to like Katmon. We also have our own San Remigio here in Cebu province. And then
Actually, sir, they have, yung parang, I think, Bugo in San Remeo. Nakapunta kami dun way back college sa UAPSA.
mm,
We also have Bugo San Remeo here.
yeah, so that's really another like annoying thing for me sa Philippines because like so many repeating names. We need to like rebrand our cities. We need to like identify who will be the true Juan San Remigio. But yeah, I could share with you guys. I don't have them with me right now. Like as we do our like QGIS activities, like some new developments in Cebu City, because those are the documents that I have, and maybe you could also share your own like documents as well. So this will be more for our finals. So yeah, just like what do you call this? I tend to change the final output based on the number of students because we usually don't have a lot. So um, it will be more meaningful if you make a map of something that you care about. So thank you for that, Crystal. Let's move on to the next one. So Maria's map here shows Tanhai City in, um, yeah, that's my first. Maria, where is Tanhai City?
Negros Oriental, sir.
Okay,
Near
Negros,
Dumaguete.
near Dumaguete. Okay, okay, gotcha. Sige. And then let's see, I'll just quickly read this for everyone. The population of Tanhai City is slowly increasing at a different rate. Let's see, compared to Region Seven's population, which has a constant growth rate. Okay, so we have our first example. Now, the municipality has a different population trend with the province. So over here, the region. Region 7 increasing steadily, while Tanhai City is like nearing a plateau or like flatlining a bit, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Let's see. Most of the activities in the area are from the LGU, such as vaccination and barangay outreach programs. The pull factors of the city is that government is so much involved in the localities. Another is the abundance of green space in the city center. Some pull factors are the like push factors, I think, are the risk of flooding during rainy seasons and the low to no access of potable water in some areas. And the urbanization process can be sustained by planting trees, improving existing green spaces, also laying supply pipes. Moreover, the area is declining economic growth. If the area is declining, economic growth must be focused. Jobs can be created for locals and attract migrants. The government must also be involved in these like problems of the localities. So we can see that physically where Tanhai is, and then one of our first examples with a um, lower population growth rate in the city itself. So let's look at the next slide over here. So Tanay City in Negros Oriental has a population of about, let's say, 81 or 82,000. It's over here, up here. There. I was looking at the graph. 82,000 people in a land area of 276 square kilometers. Water supply is here, power sources here. Issues are really access to potable water supply, high possibility of flooding due to continuous rain, lack of streetlights on the national road. So urban planner, rehabilitation of existing reservoir, laying out additional pipes, and then let's see, improve water supply, flooding residential areas. Moreover, solid waste management, recycling single-use plastic bottles also a solution. Okay, so I'll just quickly take a look at Tanhai City here because it has some pretty the same kind of problems which we already discussed. But let's see if there are some other sort of issues that we haven't discussed. So zooming out again, it's over here, Tanhai City, bit close to the edge of the tip of Cebu Island or Cebu Province. And just to confirm, let's see. Maria, is this the city center of Tanhai City? That we're near the public market?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's see here. How would you describe? Are you currently living in Tanhai City?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How would you describe the urban life there? Is it really declining based on the same as the population numbers, or is it like actually more thriving or better than what the numbers say?
Slowly thriving, yes, sir.
Ah, okay. Uh, what makes you say that?
And as of now, sir, naano may mga bagong buildings, establishments sa Tanhai ron.
Hmm.
Compared sa una nga, ang naara gyud is market, city hall, mura gyud na siya sa una karon na
Hmm.
anay and slightly gamay nga mga mini mart sorry na iro.
Yeah, okay, that's
Dayon, dayon karon sir like naanay patukod nga pure gold nga mall.
Hmm.
Dayon naana po siya Prince Mall so mura gyud siya um rural pa siya pero pa saka na siya sir.
Hmm. And you mentioned na ang access sa water kay a bit difficult. Is it getting better now?
Karon pa lang siya ni pa low to no access of potable water, sir, kay tungod sa ang ubang mga supply pipe sa bukid bitaw ay
Hmm.
conflict dayon gipang abungan bitaw sa sir.
Hmm. Na unsay ay kibaba ka unsay cause sa conflict?
Kanang mga NPA mga inana sir.
Ah, na yung mga as in like kang nagpusil-pusil diha na nag armed conflict diha sa mga bukid.
Yes sir, naa bag-o lang.
Oh geez. Like within this year or like last year?
2020 sir.
2020. Ah, okay. So they're damaging the water supply. Hmm.
Yes sir, mao lagi nga need pud sa nagka-conflict pud ang mga water district ug kinsa po yung baka adto ana didto ba.
Yeah, kay it seems like ang boundary sa Tanhai City really goes up to the mountain, you know?
Yes sir, mas dako ang area nila sa mountains.
Mm. Oh, good. So that's pretty. So I don't think like urban planning and urban design can stop like armed conflict. The most we can do is like design our systems so that they're not sort of exposed to this. But there's really nothing we can do. This is like an outside force that's negatively impacting urban development. Well, hopefully that gets resolved. One more question for Tanhai City because I'm not really familiar with this area. What is the kanang main economic activity do you think in your experience? Like, is it business? Is it agriculture?
Karon sir, slowly thriving ang business sa Tanhay dayon. But ang main source of economy gid niya is farmlands,
Ah, so
agricultural land.
agriculture based yapon.
Yes sir.
Okay, based. So one thing I want to highlight in this discussion that agricultural-based economies are very much important. The only issue why a lot of people want to shift away from that is that kanang commercial-based economies tend to get large amounts of money much faster. For the trade-off is how do you sustain those kinds of businesses? And I think for the most part, if we look at like a Philippine uh, economics, just like very quick, um, import and exports. I think for the past 10 years, let's see here, the Philippines is importing more food than it's actually producing. So this could be like a very big problem because let's see, imports are it doesn't say which sector by sector overview. In 2019, 32 number of export, 32, the number 39 in total exports, number 33 in total imports, 125 economic, the number 125 economy in terms of GDP per capita, and number 42 most complex economy according to the Economic Complexity Index. Top imports, oh, here we go. Top exports are integrated circuits, machine parts, insulated wire, semiconductor, so more electrical stuff, industrial stuff. Top imports are also the integrated circuits, refined petroleum. I'm sure we all know about the increasing gas prices. We're also importing cars, apparently, crude petroleum, broadcasting equipment, Okay, so I was wrong. We're not importing food yet. We're still more focused on importing gas and cars. So hopefully, what I'm trying to say is like these agricultural land should still be maintained and not be so kanang readily turned into commercial land, because we don't want to end up in a situation where we have to import food. But for the most part, I was wrong. It's not actually a current problem in the Philippines. So now I think the trend of our discussion really is securing water supply and providing like better access to let me just write this down so I can refer to it later. Water supply and accessibility to other or neighboring cities. Accessibility to neighboring cities are really like key factors in improving development in sort of Philippine municipalities or like our most municipalities here. Okay, thank you for that, Maria. Let's see. I'll just quickly go through if there's anything else we can discuss. Solid waste management. Yes, we that's pretty much like a straightforward process. Solid waste management basically involves identifying where the trash is coming from and then locating a place to dispose of it, like whether it be through recycling or landfills I think are not so sustainable anymore, really. And then recycling, the challenge is not everything we throw away can be recycled, so there has to be some kind of like I guess kind of way to like break down these like non-recyclable materials, or maybe on give them a space to like decompose so they go back into the environment safely, of course. Lastly, installation of street lights, get power, renewable energy source, non-polluting, inaccessible, or it serves as a reminder that we could use alternative sources of energy that do not harm the environment. So the bigger problem in Tanhai City is because the source of water is now an area for armed conflict. So that's a really difficult problem to have that I don't think urban planning and urban design has the solution to. That's very much a political problem. Okay.
Another po day, sir, kay ang sa Bukid Bitaw nga area sa Tanhay kay wala sila roads.
Mm. So yeah,
Bali,
access. How do we get the water there?
maglisod pud sila og angkat bitaw sa ilang mga products padulong sa centers.
The products from the center to the Bukid area. Yes. So just looking at the map, Wagyu Road, sakto yung Wagyu Road, it's just blank. Yeah, ang National Highway, mo ba ni kaning pink?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and then this yellow is like a smaller highway connecting east and west of the Negros Oriental. So yeah, no infrastructure, no access really leads to like a lot of problems down the line. Okay, thank you for that, Maria. That was very insightful. Next, we have here Melissa's like map here showing Cebu City. So let's see here. I think a few of us are already like pretty aware of Cebu City since we work here. Highly urbanized city, sustaining Cebu City's population entails maintaining its multi-sectoral growth. Apart from monitoring its economic-driven sectors, it is called to invest in public health and the academic sector as well. Despite its benefits, Cebu City is not spared from the challenges: economic urbanization, housing, another same problem with a previous example, high crime rate, arguably, let's see here, systematic issues still need to be addressed. Multi-sectoral powerhouse, citizens may still have hope that the scan platform local urban planners are currently given will be improved. Okay. See, okay. Then moving over here. Issue Cebu City area population at 900,000, 964,000 exactly. And Cebu City and its barangays are relatively consistent. Schedule for garbage collection, however, typical schedule of once a week may not suffice for residential areas. As a recommendation with landscape architectural insight, may improve community safety and operational efficiency of waste collection. Neighborhoods and its barangay units may be recommended to formalize a disposal area for community waste, and this may allow the garbage collection process to speed up, ensure community safety, improve like segregation, etc., etc. Majority of the collected garbage is expected to be found in recycling plants where the waste management process ends, and however, these plants require large spaces, etc., etc. Okay, so it's kind of timely that we're talking about material waste management here. This is for Cebu City, and this is really one of the sort of major causes. What do you call this? Of like urban decay. So if we look at, let me see, and let's open up Cebu City. We close these other ones. And then one of the biggest problems when you have a lot of people living together is really trash. So if we go down here to the old city center of Cebu, this is what we call the Colon area. So far, these pictures are showing pretty clean spaces. But if you go deeper into the Colon area, then you'll see the trash and the quote unquote like urban decay. So spaces like these, this is more like the state of the buildings, not so much the waste being produced. Further in here, let's see, this is the Basilica del Santo Niño, the sort of the big church everyone goes to during the Sinulog festival. And let's see, I can't seem to find where the trash is. Let's go to somewhere like deeper here, like these small alleys. I think we can also look at Carbon. So now you see a bit more of the waste. Let me go down here. Here. So one of the sort of popular like shopping places or like markets in Cebu is really the Carbon Public Market. And I think this is 2021. Yeah, it says 2021 over here. And you can see the effect of waste. So this would have been like a fairly decent, or I think still a lot of people go to Carbon. I think currently it's being renovated, mostly because of the state of disrepair, the garbage, the unsanitary sort of conditions of the site. And now they're going to develop something like this, the interim public market. Target completion date is the fourth quarter of 2021. I think it's already there. Messages. What's this? Okay, that's the dean. Let's see, fruit stalls, rice, cereal stalls, and then here we have a better image of what the market would look like. Something like this. So, talking about materials recovery and waste management, let's see here. Who is this? Melissa, what is your experience on like waste management in Cebu City? Is it getting better or worse, do you think?
Hi. I can only really talk about as a citizen level, as a consumer level.
Yes, okay, Rajuna.
Okay, thank you. What for me it's sayang like dako kay potential kay paspas or man molihok unta ang government. It's just that it's still work. They would still like they would say na iuna nila ang residential areas, which is true on some barangays, but mas iuna gyud nila ang mobayad sa ilaha. So mostly it's the businesses that could pay, that could pay the government to get their trash. But if you don't ask, they won't pick up your trash also. So yeah, that's what's happening. Other than that said, we have small roads na magid sa daan. That's already a hindrance to how we can collect waste. Because what's happening right now is that garbage trucks, they pick up waste each household door to door. So not only does it cause traffic, but it causes like operational inefficiencies. Instead of speeding the process up, like they would they could only come like once a week to pick up like
Mm.
household waste or even commercial waste. So what happens is you can see kind of daplin sa dan, but they're just pile of garbage. That's what I call the community waste. People just dump their garbage there, and like it's unspoken. People just kind of know that yeah, we dump our garbage there. No one talks about it, but we
That
know.
is the area for the
Yeah,
garbage.
it's designated.
Oh.
So even the garbage collectors like they pick it up from inside there because like they see garbage. Okay, we'll just pick it up anyway. So it's not very okay. One, it's unsightly to see, but other than that, like it's very unsanitary because it's usually there's a sidewalks that people designate these areas to, or other public areas now where people are supposed to walk. There are
Mm.
trash there because that's where they designate it. So yeah, citizen level kind of observation.
Okay, good. It's those kinds of perspectives, like street level, like citizen level observations, that also like help people like me in the academe and those who work in the government and those who work like in like anywhere in between. We're all experiencing this problem. What can we do to solve it? So where QGIS comes in, new slide. It's really just number one. We need to like raise awareness, document what's going on, and then actually let me just show you a preview of our next activity. Go to our modules over here. Do modules. Here. So our next activity for next week, we can take a bit of a break this week. Okay, we're really like just talking about the implications of mapping and how we can use it to study data. So next week we'll be talking about population data because like it's the easiest one. It's the most readily available. So I'll be providing you with, I think this is 2015 population data. We'll be updating it to 2020, and then we'll make a map showing where the population is living in like a specific area. So I'll just open this in new tab. I can't seem to open it in new tab, sorry. So this is, let's see, I don't know why I cropped out the name. This looks to be Sugod, Surigao, Saligo, Maasin City. Maasin City, I know where that is. It's in City, Leyte. Okay, so that's here, Eastern Visayas. And then you can clearly see from just one map, okay, where did my thing go? Here, that the population is really focused in an area named Sugod and Maasin City, and then it's spread out sort of unevenly throughout the rest of like southern Leyte. And then the video instructions are here. I'll make this public, but we'll be doing this activity together next week. So we mentioned over here, I'll just write that down so I don't forget. Specifically for our batch, we mentioned insert text box. Very interesting road right-of-way acquisition, the processes for it. This is just not, this won't be on a quiz. This is just something that it's good to know. Housing backlogs, let's say water, sort of procurement. Did I spell that right? I don't think I did. Here we go. Procurement. And then infrastructure development, and waste management. Waste manage. I'll just put this into numbers. Numbers. I'll increase that to that. I think we missed one. There are supposed to be 6 entries here. Let's see. So this was the ROW agreement. This was the housing backlog. Rural image. Okay. We'll just call it the city, or like a city / municipality. Municipalities. cities. Ah, dang it. Image. And then this is more a, let's like fit this into like categories of urban design, as we discussed in the video. Nope. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So I think this would fall more on governance. It's a governance issue, social issue, factor, specifically governance. This would be a housing backlogs physical factor, I would think. Specifically, buildings or like buildings. Governance, image, and this is a social factor. Thinking about culture and behavior. Water procurement, physical factor. Yeah, water really. Infrastructure development is also physical. Talking about access and waste management, another physical factor. Talking about, yeah, waste. So with our maps here, we'll start out with the population, and then maybe I can customize activities for us to really like highlight these different issues in our local communities. What do you call this? Maybe the road right-of-way acquisition maybe could focus on the existing roads in Kalibo. Housing backlogs, maybe we can identify the existing housing in like, I forget this area, whatever that was, my brain, over here. In Ubai, Bohol. So this is Aklan, Ubai. I'm sorry, Kalibo, Kalibo, Aklan. And this is Butuan City. In San Remigio. San Remigio. I think more of the San Remigio down here for the infrastructure development. Spelling. And then the water procurement was more for Tanhai City. And then waste management, Cebu City. Okay. So already some ideas I'm thinking of is like we can use the point function in QGIS to identify like locations of like quality housing, locations for possible like new landmark buildings for Butuan, possible sources of water for Tanhai City. And for infrastructure development, we can actually draw the line for new roads. And then for waste management, we can do like new routes for waste management, like where should the garbage go, and like where should the garbage be physically put for the waste to be picked up. So there's like several ways we can apply QGIS with this. But for next week, we'll just focus on the population mapping first because it's already like ready there. And then like probably towards our finals, we'll do individual activities to create our own specific maps. So I'll just unpublish, I'll just publish this, open it up to you guys, and I'll fill in your grades. So yeah, the deadline for this won't be October 15. Let me edit the deadline. Edit. I forget I need to update my class for the next session. 2022, 19. We'll do it at 26. We should finish it, let's say, by 2:30 p.m., like the whole section. Good, save. And the one after that, probably we'll look into creating custom maps for our own, like cities. Okay. Next one was open field calculator followed by map update compilation analysis. Yes, and then exam. Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. So that's pretty much our session for today. Hopefully, you got